So Adrian Mannarino and Carlos Alcaraz are facing off in the first round of the Madrid Open. Now, Mannarino has had some decent wins this year. He has had a mixed season, I would say, because he hasn't done so well. He did do a little bit well in the Australian Open. He made it to the third round, lost his Zverev, but he did have a good run. In Singapore, he made the quarterfinals. But other than that, he didn't really have that many good results. He's not won that many matches, especially because he's on clay now, which he doesn't thrive on. He's now gonna be faced with a tough task. He has to play Alcaraz in the first round, who's a good clay quarter. So it's gonna be tough for Mannarino. We're gonna see if he can claim an unlikely win. We're gonna see if that can happen. Now, Alcaraz has had some good wins this year as well. He made his first tour level semifinal in Andalusia, which was a good run for him. He beat Casper Ruud along the way, so a good little run there. In Estoril, he also made it through the qualifiers. He lost to Cilic, but he was able to take a set, which is impressive because Cilic, as we all know, he's accomplished a Grand Slam champion. So it was a good match for Alcaraz there, and now he's being awarded the wild card into Madrid. So we're gonna see if he can make use of that, because he could potentially play rough in the second round. So we're gonna see what is gonna happen here. Now, Alcaraz and Mannarino, they've never met. I don't think they've ever met before, so they have a 0-0 head-to-head. So right now, I'm going to pick Alcaraz to win this, because Mannarino isn't so good on clay, because while he is a lefty and most lefties are good on the surface, he does have a flat forehand, and his flat strokes are really rewarded on the clay courts. So he's not so good on clay, so I'm going to pick Alcaraz to win this in straight sets. I think that Alcaraz can do this in straight sets, because Mannarino is not really a good clay courter, while Alcaraz is way better, and he has had some good results on the clay this season. And he's also had more practice on the clay. So I'm going to pick Alcaraz in straight sets here to win this. Pablo Andujar and Marcos Giron are facing off in the first round of Madrid. Now, Andujar, I would say he's most at home on the clay, and he's had a couple of wins. He's had a mixed season. He hasn't really done so well this year, but he did make a quarterfinal in Argentina, which was a good sign, and he also took the first set against the eventual finalist. That was a good match. He also won against Simon Barcelona. He lost to RBA, but he did give RBA a tough fight in the first set. So that was also a good, encouraging sign. And in Estoril, he took a set over Davidovich Fokina, so also an encouraging sign as well. But for the most part, he hasn't really had so many wins in 2021. But he has played a lot on the clay, which will be important, since Giron isn't much of a clay courter. He's much of a hard court specialist, I would say. He isn't really as good on the clay, but we'll see what Andujar can do here. Now, Giron is a qualifier just like Andujar. He had to come through the qualies, and he beat some good players. He beat Montero in one of the qualifying rounds, so he did beat some good players in the qualifying, a lot of clay court specialists in the qualifying, so a good, encouraging run for Giron there. And he's only played one clay court tournament. That was in Estoril, and he lost to Mute in straight set, but he saved 2 match points in that second set, and he led by a break in the third set, so he did keep the match close, which was a good sign there. But he isn't as good on the clay as he is on the hard court. So coming up against a clay court specialist like Andujar, he's gonna have to be careful when he's going against him, because he's not as good on the clay. Now, they've never met, so they have a 0-0 head-to-head. So my prediction here, I think that Andujar is going to win this in 3 sets. I think that Giron can keep it close, but I think that Andujar wins it in 3 because he's the better clay court player. it's pretty simple for me because he's just the better on clay. He wins this in 3 sets. So my prediction is Andujar in 3 sets here. So Fabio Fognini and Carlos Taberner, they're facing off in the first round of the Madrid Open. Now Fognini hasn't really had the best of start because he has had some good results mixing with some bad results. Like he has had a mixed season this year. In the ATP Cup, he was able to make the final along with his team. And same with the Australian Open, he made the 4th round too, so he had some deep results. But when it came to the clay courts, he did well in Monte Carlo. He reached the quarterfinals and he lost to Rudd in straight sets. But in Andalusia, he lost to Mannarino in straight sets in the first round, only winning 3 games. Not an encouraging sign. In Barcelona, he also lost to his opponent, and he was defaulted for like verbal abuse. So it wasn't really a good start for Fognini, but I don't know what I think he's trying to clear his name now or something like that. But he didn't do in Barcelona. He had to end due to some verbal abuse or something like that. So not a good thing, especially for his confidence level at this time. Now his opponent had to come through qualies. He had some good wins over Thompson and Musetti, and he has also had some good results. He has done well at challenger level. He was able to have some good wins, so he's not playing badly now, and he plays similar to Rafa Nadal. He plays similar. He has like a loopy forehand, so he's very good on the clay. So we're gonna see what he can do against Fognini, who is a good clay court player as well. Now Fognini and Carlos Taberner, they've never met. I don't think they've ever met before. So they have a 0-0 head-to-head. Their head-to-head right now is 0-0. So right now I'm gonna pick Fognini. I think that while he lost in his last match in Barcelona, I think he can turn it around here because Fognini is playing. He didn't play well in Barcelona, but I think that he will be eager to get back to winning ways. Now I don't think that his opponent is experienced enough, even if he were to be a little off. I don't think that his opponent is strong enough to take him out. So I'm gonna pick Fognini to win this. I guess gonna be 2. I think that this match will go 3 sets just because of how well his opponent is playing. But I think that in the end, Fognini will win this. I think it's going to be Fognini in 3. So Fognini in 3 sets is my prediction here. So Christian Garin and Fernando Verdasco, they're facing off in the first round of the Madrid Open. Now Garin has had some good results this year. As I've said, in his hometown he won his home tournament in his hometown on the clay court. So he is primarily regarded as a clay court specialist. So it's good to see him doing well on the clay as well, because that's where he mostly thrives as well. In Miami, he didn't do so well because that was a hard court. But in Monte Carlo, he was able to win a couple matches, but he lost to Tsitsipas, but he was still able to win a couple of matches there. And in Barcelona, he lost in the first round to Nishikori, but not a bad loss. So nothing to be ashamed of. And in the clay court tournament happening in Portugal, he lost to Norrie in 3 sets. But Norrie is a player who can upset anyone, and he has a really loopy forehand, which is good for clay as well. So it wasn't such a bad loss in terms of quality, because Norrie is definitely a good player. So he has had a lot of practice on the clay, which is a good sign, because he can maybe he can have a couple of deep results if he can get some good wins, because he has had a lot of practice on the clay. Now Verdasco has just come back. He hasn't played much tennis this year, and he's only played in 1 clay court tournament, which he lost to Ramos Vinolas. That was last week in Estoril. He lost to Ramos Vinolas. So, and in Miami, he also lost to the American Frantangelo in straight sets. So right now it's kind of a little bit hard to know where his game is at. We haven't really seen much of his game yet, and he's just on the comeback trail for now. But we're gonna see what can happen here because we don't really know yet what his game is at right now. Now, Garin and Verdasco, they've met once, and that was on a hard court though, and Garin won that one in 3 sets. But it was on a hard court too, so that's something that you have to remember as well. Now, my prediction here, I think that Garin wins this one. I don't think that Verdasco can win because right now he's still on the comeback trail. He's not had that much practice on the clay, and while Garin has had more practice on the clay, he's practiced more. He had played a lot of tournaments on the clay, made some deep runs in it. So I think that Garin wins this because he's more equipped to the clay, while Verdasco is still trying to get into the groove here. So Garin in 3 is my prediction. Sorry, no, Garin in straight sets is my prediction for this match. So Umber and Aslan Karatsev, they're facing off in the first round of the Madrid Open. Now, Umber he hasn't been in the best form this season because he hasn't won. I don't think he's won. He's not had many periods where he's won consecutive matches. Like, the only one of the few times he did that was in the Open Tour de France, but again, he lost to Bautista in straight sets. So he hasn't had the best of seasons because he lost early in a couple tournaments, and especially on clay, he was able to he beat Cecchinato in straight sets, and that was a good win because Cecchinato is a great clay court player. And he then beat Davidovich Fokina. Well, he lost to him in straight sets yesterday. So we're going to see what he can do in Madrid because we'll see if he can maybe turn his form around here because he isn't in his best form so far. Now, Karatsev, this year has been his breakout year. He's in extremely good form. He's playing extremely well this year. And he's really on track to really have he can break some new records here because he's playing really well. He's really, now having a breakout season. He's a late bloomer. He's 27 already, but he's just breaking out this year. So that's impressive. But right, he made the Australian Open semis this year, and not only that, he also won the Dubai Championships. In Serbia, he also beat the world number 1 in 3 sets, Djokovic in 3 sets. So that was an impressive win for him. So he's having a really great season this year. So we're going to see if he can do something more maybe in Madrid as well. Now, Umber and Karatsev, they've never met before, so they have a 0-0 head-to-head. So right now, I'm going to pick Karatsev to win this in straight sets. I think that right now, he's playing really well. I don't think that Umber has had the best of seasons this year. So as a result, I'm going to pick Karatsev in straight sets for this match. But yeah, I think he's playing better right now. So Karatsev in straight sets.